Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday. We got a bunch of updates for production updates for September. So we're going to get into Iris Energy today, Marathon and Riot. Tomorrow we'll get into Core Scientific, Argo, DMG, BitDeer I think is on the list as well. So we'll get into all those. BitDeer I think as well, if I hadn't said that one already. But we'll get into all of this and we'll try to get through this as fast as we can. The chapter's going to be down below for you guys to skip over things if you don't want to look over something. But I would highly recommend you guys take a look at all the miners because there are some interesting things here. Okay, but as always, you guys know the drill here, not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And I'm investing in the following coins and companies for full disclosure as always. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. It helps me out tremendously. So let's try to get through this relatively quickly. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Iris Energy first on bat. So Iris Energy announces monthly investor update for September 2023. And here's what we have on them. Scrolling down here. They mined 390 Bitcoins for the month of September, which, like I've said in the previous video, that September was a shorter month. We only had 30 days instead of 31 days as compared to August. Electricity cost has risen here for September to 13,717. They actually provide details as to what that is. So if we scroll down here, we can see that the increase in electricity cost per Bitcoin 13.7 thousand versus the 10.6 thousand in August was primarily attributable to lower energy trading proceeds at Childress. However, this resulted in higher operating hash rate for the month. Okay, so there's always a balancing act that they're dealing with here. They're curtailing and getting credits for that, keeping costs down lower, or they're mining more, right? So it was in favor of them to mine more this time around, so that's what they did here. And you can see here their setup here, all that. You guys can take a look at all this stuff here that you want. I'm not going to get into it. Other than that, there was nothing else really in here that was anything that was major. So if you guys want to read over this, you can obviously read over that. The press release is on Yahoo Finance. And let's take a look at what we have here for Iris Energy as far as my data here. Okay. So currently they have 66.7 million shares outstanding. Market cap is at 210 million right now. Stock price is at $3.15. The last 12 weeks has been rough for the pretty much majority of the miners here for the most part. They're down 48% from 12 weeks ago, 34% down from 8 weeks ago. They're down 20% from 4 weeks ago, and they're down 3.13% from last week, right? So we've seen this, like I've said in the other video, basically in the last 12 weeks, we've seen basically 11 weeks where we've been in the red with the miners. And I've talked about possibly where we're getting back into this trend of the miners going down before the pre-halving like we saw in the pre-halving event last time around, which was basically a year before the halving event in May of 2020, the miners were going down in price while Bitcoin was actually going up. So check out that video. That was the previous video to this one if you want to hear my thoughts on that. But here's what we do have. They are at currently 5.587 exahash. They stated something else. They provide them medium or the average hash rate that they're operating at. I wish they would provide what they actually have installed and energized instead of what the operating hash rate was for the average hash rate was for the month. Future hash rate is supposed to be 5.7. I think they're pretty much at that. They're just reporting the average here. They were down a little bit here in September. BTC production here you can see has been coming down here ever since May. May, like I said before, is attributable to the network hash rate, not the network hash rate, the network rewards that the miners got, which was really high because of ordinals in May. But that obviously helped out a lot. But even then, they've been kind of going down here a little bit. Network hash rate has been going up. That's the result because of this. And then when we look at their hash rate here, you can see that the last couple months it has been kind of flat. So whenever that happens, when the miners are flat in hash rate, not installing anything, their production is going to be coming down because the network hash rate is going up. Okay. Month over month difference here, you can see what they mined each month compared to the other month, or the difference between the 2 months. BTC hodl, they don't hodl anything, so that's set at 0. BTC per exahash efficiency has been coming down, but that's normal for all the miners for the most part. For the month of September, they're still pretty good here at 69.8. BTC sold, they've been selling everything that they mined, so that's not a big deal there. Hash rate, you can see how hash rate has been pretty much flat over the last, 6 months or so. And that's the result we've seen the production coming down here. Okay, Bitcoin revenue value as well, how much they, the revenue that they generate each month has definitely come way up here from December low of only 2 million. They reached a high in May of 13.97, almost 14 million. And then they've been coming down here a little bit ever since then. And that's because they're mining less. The network hash rate has been increasing, but they haven't been growing with the network hash rate. Okay, hash rate difference month over month. How much they increase or decrease their hash rate. We saw a big decrease here last year in November where they returned their miners because they were no longer profitable under the special purpose vehicles that they had set up for those. And that obviously hurt them. But in a way, it was good because they got rid of the debt they had associated with it because they just couldn't pay it. So it was good that they did that. BTC sold value, how much they've been selling is basically whatever the revenue is. They've been selling everything here. The interesting part of it here is they don't provide quarterly results. They provide, for the most part, biannual results, so every 6 months or so. So we are at 48.68 million here on the first half of the year. If they stay close to this, the 34.4 million for the current quarter that's estimated, they're going to probably beat that H2 number, which was going to be their H1 number, I guess you could say. Okay, and then you got the quarterly results here. You guys can take a look at over that. I've discussed that in the quarterly results, a video on them. When we look at the institutions and analyst ratings, increased. Institutions did increase here, so that's good by 2. Shares also increased a little bit here as well to 17.53 million from 17.43 million. But percentage actually went down to 27.3. We might have had some dilution there happening, or at least we got the update of how many shares are at the end of H2. Okay, we still have 2 strong buy ratings, 4 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, and the price target stayed pretty much the same. It increased a little bit on the average, but it was 24 for the high, 11.50 for the average, and $8 for the low on it. As far as how they operated for the month here, for September, we had them running pretty much for 30 days for the most part. And then I had to actually add another 303,000 into it to get to the 10.259 million, which is based on the average Bitcoin price in September, which is what we have here, 10.259. And they've been really pretty efficient here. I probably should have reduced these numbers here for 30.25, probably had them at 31 days here. But yeah, they're for the most part pretty efficient. I think they might be overclocking some of their hash rate here as well, possibly, based on what I'm having to do here. There's only 1 or 2 miners. One, I think, is them, and the other miner is Bit Digital as well, I think, or somebody else, where I have to actually add in dollar amounts because the things just don't add up somehow, based on all the calculations that I do on them. Okay, just for full disclosure there. And if we look at the price targets right now they are based on the last 3 quarters and the current quarter that they're in. That's an estimated number there. P of 15, not much growth left in them. They have in between $6.70 to $10.06. They're at $3.15. I definitely think that they are undervalued. The reason they might be undervalued is because, well, investors are a little skeptical because of what happened last year with them having to return miners. Let's see here. If we look forward to the next 12 months, the 6 months before the halving event, so we're multiplying the numbers from September revenue times the 6, and then the 6 months after the halving event at 50%, we're still looking at $10.38 to $15.57. That's just if they can maintain this revenue here going forward. So definitely, in my opinion, undervalued. And this is one of the miners that I'm looking to possibly get into because of how undervalued they are, I think. Come after the halving event, I think they might actually have a nice run up here. But we'll see. The other only thing that's kind of scary with them is how will they grow. They stated here, I think if we look back here, they said they want to get to 30 exahash. And they do have, let me see if I can find it. I don't think it's in here. Let me see, technical commentary, future development sites. They're okay. Development work continues across additional sites in Canada, the US, and the Asia Pacific, which have the potential to support up to an additional greater than 1 gigawatt of aggregate capacity. They can power growth beyond the company's 760 megawatts of announced capacity. And they also stated here that they have, where did they state this? I just read it too. I probably should have marked it up. Let's see, this is talking about the places, AI, hardware, next generation compute, AI. Oh, here it is. So 30 exahash Bitcoin mining program. This is where they're trying to get to. They have a 626 million funding plan, 69 million existing cash, 57 million ELOC capacity, and they also have the 500 million shelf filing, which is 300 million ATM and 200 million of other. Right. So depending on when they will use this up is also dependent on whether or not I will be pulling the trigger on buying them. Right. I do not want to see them buying or diluting, especially as we get into the bull run in Bitcoin. That's a bad time to buy. The best time to buy is actually right now in the bear market. Prices of miners are low. Prices of infrastructure is low. Everything is down lower because there's not that much demand for it. So that's the best time to do it. If they do plan on doing it, they would hopefully do this within the next 12 months, I would say. Right? We still have about 12 to 16 months before we really take off after the halving event. this would be probably the time to start buying things like that, buying long lead time items, transformers, things like that, and then looking obviously for facilities to build that out. And but that's kind of my thoughts on that. So I'm kind of looking to see how they will progress going forward and how they're going to execute on this plan. That's going to be a big tell for me. All right. So let's see here. So yeah, definitely undervalued in my opinion right now. We'll see where they get to going forward. Definitely the 30 exahash is an ambitious plan. And like I said, we'll see how they execute on that one. Okay. So let me know what you guys think of them. If you guys are invested in them or not, what are you guys thinking? Down in the comments below. Love to hear from you guys. All right, let's take a look at Marathon here. So Marathon Digital Holdings announces Bitcoin production and mining operation updates for September. And if we scroll down here, this might be a ways down. Okay. So here's a quote from them. Our primary focus is still growth. Now that we have reached our primary domestic growth target of 23 exahash on an installed basis, we are evaluating multiple opportunities for our next 5 exahash of hash rate capacity, including international locations with low-cost renewable energy. We expect to announce specifics in our expansion plans in the weeks ahead. So I think this is actually good. They also paid off their debt, or part of the debt, around $400 some million, based on basically dilution. They diluted stocks, give it to the creditors for that. And here's what we do have for them. As far as operation highlights for September, we have Bitcoin produced was 1,232. Energized hash rate was still 19.1. And they did provide an update on some of the facilities here. Let me see here. I think, where was it? 1,000. Was it this one? We got that one. 19.1 down here. Total Bitcoin holdings. Okay, Bitcoin total HODL was 13,726. And I think they provided some information as far as their miners that are still waiting to be energized. But that was, let me see here. Oh, their hash rate was now at the average hash rate, or joules, is 25.2 joules per terahash, which is good as of October 1st. Once they're fully deployed, they'll be approximately 24. So that's still really good there. And let me see here. Where was it? Outside the company? Nope, that wasn't it. Energization. Okay, here it is. Energization of the facility in Garden City, Texas is still pending. However, based on the latest updates, we believe the facility will start to come online this month. So that would be good there as well. That would get them probably closer to the 23 exahash they're trying to get to. Okay. So that's kind of where we are at with right now with Marathon. So far, they're doing really good. And let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for them, and along with analyst estimates and everything else. So let's see here. Where's Marathon? There they are. Okay. Marathon right now has 205 million shares outstanding. Stock price is $7.42. They've been beaten down quite a bit here in the last 12 weeks, as have some of the other miners. But they're down like almost 50%, I think, in the last 12 weeks. Market cap is at 1.5 billion right now, as it is. And you can see here, yeah, in the 12 weeks, they're down 53%. From 8 weeks ago, they're down 42%. From 4 weeks ago, they're down 22%. And then last week, they were down 1.96%. So it's a pretty significant drop in the price of the stock in the last 12 weeks, right? 50-some percent. Bitcoin's only down a little bit, not that much, but it's still down. But the miners are definitely getting beaten down. That's why I seem to think that maybe we're heading into the same kind of path that we had before the last halving event. But we'll see if this continues going forward. Okay, current hash rate 19.1 exahash. Future hash rate is 24.6. That's where I have them at, but that, like, they're saying 23 something. I think we're going to be really close on that. There might be some miners that they got rid of in here as well. Okay, HODL position is 13.726 thousand. That's valued at about 380 million right now. And let's see here. You see the BTC production has been increasing ever since last year, which is good to see. The 1,232 is almost beating their previous high of 1,245, but still not quite. This is their month-over-month difference in production for BTC. You can see it's kind of been up and down here a little bit. BTC HODL has been increasing though, which is good to see as well. Bitcoin per exahash efficiency is actually going to come up to this past month in September at 64.5, so that's good. BTC sold, they are definitely selling right around between 700 to 800 Bitcoins a month, somewhere on average, to keep, obviously, well, not to keep, but to prevent possibly diluting shareholders, just to keep the place running, pay employees and things like that, which is good. And they started doing that ever since January of this year, which I think is good. Hash rate, you can see here that hash rate has definitely grown nicely here from last year. They were at 3.7 exahash at the beginning of, well, September of last year. And then this year they're up to 19.1, which is a huge growth for them, which is fantastic to see because they had a lot of problems last year with their facility that they had. And, well, things weren't going great for them, but they've definitely turned things around here. Revenue has also been increasing nicely as well. They're at 32.41 million based on the Bitcoin average price for September that I'm calculating here. And yeah, I mean, their best month was here in July at 35.38 million. And they came down in August a little bit, but then back up in September. So that's good to see as well. Hash rate difference month over month as well. You can see that Bitcoin sold value, how much they're selling. So roughly they need about 20 million or so a month, it looks like, to fund operations. Okay. Last 4 quarters revenue, they're definitely going to beat based on my current quarter estimates, which was Q3, 97 million compared to 81 million. So that's obviously been a huge improvement here over the last year from the 12.69 million they had in Q3 of last year. Okay. And then you can see depreciation, other metrics as well. You can see those here when we covered the quarterly results on them. As far as institutions and analyst ratings, we got 2 increases in institutions. Shares also increased to 76.35 million from 71.6, and percentage, I forgot to put in the percentage somehow. So I'll get this updated here, but I'm guessing it's kind of maybe increased or actually went, probably increased here because I don't think they reflect the dilution that has happened recently here, but I'll double check this again. We do have 1 buy rating, 1 strong buy rating, 2 buy ratings, 5 hold ratings. Price targets are $20 for them, $16.02 for the average, and $11 still remain the same here. In the month of September, they were actually curtailing less, which is good. They were running approximately 28.56 days out of the month, out of the 30 days, compared to the 24 days in August only. All right, so that's good. That's how they were able to keep up with the Bitcoin production here, which was good. And based on my targets here, I have in between, well, last 3 quarters plus the current quarter that we were in, which was Q3. I'm looking at $12.60 to $18.90. They are undervalued definitely right now at $7.42. And then if we look forward to the next 12 months, 6 months before the halving event at full 100% for September numbers using that, and then the 50% after that, we're still looking at $14.21 to $21.31, right? So it's kind of in line with what the analysts are looking at as well. My low is a little bit higher than their low is here, at least. Okay, let me know what you guys think of them. I think they're definitely doing all the right things. They're looking to grow even further, so that's good. And I've said it in the comments before, I think Marathon, Riot, CleanSpark, Iris Energy, Bitfarms, and there was another one in there as well, I think are pretty good bets going forward after the halving event into the next year and a half to 2 years. Okay, so that's just my take on that. Not financial advice as always, and let me know what you guys think. Okay, down in the comments, I'll respond to you guys there. And then let's get into Riot here. So Riot announced a September 2023 production and operation update. And if we look down here, Bitcoin mined was 362 in August. Just a month prior, they had 333, so that is an improvement, so that's good there. Bitcoin held also increased here a little bit to 7,327. Bitcoin sold. I have a different number for them. I have, I believe, 344. They're reporting 340. I don't know if they're just rounding it down, but I have that different. Power credits also came down quite a bit here, to 11 million here from the 24.1 million that they had in August. And then the demand response credits also went down to 2.5 million from the 7.5 million they had in August. Okay, so this is more, I don't know if this is more in line with things, but I think things are quieting down as the temperatures are starting to recede into the fall ranges here. Okay, let's see what else do we have here. I think that we had something else here as well. We got that 11 million, 12.5. Okay, and then finally some good news at their Rockdale facility. Their operations teams have begun installation of replacement dry coolers in Building G, one of our immersion buildings, and hash rate has started to ramp back up. Our hash rate capacity will continue to increase as miners in Building G are energized until the building returns to its full capacity of 2.4 exahash in November, bringing Riot's total self-mining hash rate for capacity of 12.5 exahash. So this was long overdue. They said that there were long lead times on the dry coolers, I guess, that they're getting from, I think it was from England, which is strange that they couldn't get those from here in the United States or other countries, something like that, but they had to get these specific dry coolers. But it has taken them basically since, last December, January or something like that, to get this up and running, which is just a huge waste of opportunity and huge waste of potential revenue here. But they are finally getting it fixed, so that's good news there. That will help them going into the halving event, which is really important here, okay? So that's that part of it. Let me see here. And then they're talking about obviously growing to the 30 exahash or 20 exahash here in the future with the miners that they purchased. You guys can read over this. I'm not going to get into it too deep. We've covered that in the past as well. Okay, so let's take a look at Riot here, and then we'll take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin and the miners here really quick at the end as well. Okay, so Riot right now has 185 million shares outstanding for the most part. Stock price is in $9.01. Market cap is at 1.66 billion. You can see that they've done pretty badly here in the last 12 weeks as well. They're down 51% from 12 weeks ago, 38% down from 8 weeks ago, and they're down 14.8% from 4 weeks ago. And then last week they were actually up just slightly, almost 1% up in the last week. So they're pretty much falling like other miners are as well. Okay, current hash rate 10.7, future hash rate is going to be 20. They're saying that that's going to get there probably before the sometime in the first half of 2024. So that'd be fantastic. So that'd be right in line with the halving event. And then we got Bitcoin HODL of 7,327. That's valued at 202 million, which is good. Bitcoin production has been coming down, but then again, the hard part is trying to reflect the credits that they do get in power. How does that compare to if they were actually operating the whole time? And I'm still working on something like that where we can maybe figure out a way to do that. Okay. But it is actually improving here as we get into the colder months, which should be good because we saw the same thing here last year where they were, they were growing, but also they were curtailing less. So we're seeing the same kind of ramp up here. So with Riot, they're going to be a little bit more cyclical as far as summer months are going to be a little bit less production because of the heat, and the winter months are going to be possibly better for them going forward as well. Month-over-month difference. So what was the difference between the prior month to the current month? So you can see that Bitcoin HODL has been increasing as well, so that's good there. Bitcoin exahash efficiency is still really low for them, 33.83, but they are getting power credits, like we said. For that, Bitcoin sold. They sold quite a bit here in the beginning of the year and towards the end of last year, but they've been kind of coming down less and less on what they're having to sell to fund operations. Hash rate revenue. So you can see here, hash rate obviously was at, well, 9.7 exahash, and then it just went up a little bit here to 10.5. And we had a little bit of an increase here in June to 10.7, but then it's still kind of flat here as well. Revenue peaked in May of 18.59 million, and then it definitely dropped during the hotter months here in June, July, August, and then it's starting to kind of come back up as well in September. But Bitcoin price has been coming down during that time frame. Network hash rate has been growing as well. That's the reason for this decline here, I guess you could say. All right. Hopefully in October, November, December, they can mine for longer periods of time. That should get their Bitcoin production up and revenues up as well, that they can report on, because they can't report the power credits. I think they are reported on them as, how are those reported? As credits or something like that on the balance sheet. It's a little messy. Hash rate difference here month over month. You can see that Bitcoin sold value, how much they've been selling. They sold the most, it looks like, in April, or at least the value-wise, not maybe what they sold here, but the most they sold in March and in January of last year, or this year. Sorry. Okay. Last 4 quarters revenue, self-mining. This quarter, the one that ended in Q3, which just ended in September, they're actually going to be down in revenue here. But we'll have to see how those power credits affect it here. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind. And you can look at these data here that we talked about in the quarterly results. Institutions and analyst ratings, 348 right now, so that's an increase, slight increase, as well as the shares, 72.2 million, 38.99% owned, slight increase there as well. We still have 3 strong buy ratings, 7 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sell. Price targets are pretty much the same, 23 for the high. The only change here is the average to 19.59 from 19.79, and the low actually went down to 16 from 16.5. Okay. For the month of September, I had them mining here. It looks like 14.98 days, so roughly 15 days here on average during the month. So half the month they were mining, half the month they weren't. Okay, and that's how they came up with, or I came up with 9.522 million, which coincides with the Bitcoin average price plus what they mined here times what they mined, and that's what we got there. So we're right on cue there. My estimates or price targets here for them, looking at the last 3 quarters, and then the current quarter that we just finished, Q3, I have them between $8.62 to $12.93. They're currently at $9.01, so they're kind of in that range where I think they're fairly valued right now. Going forward, if we use the numbers from September revenue, multiply that times 12, well, 6 before the halving event, 6 after the halving event at 50%, we're looking at $4.63 to $6.94. But I know that's not probably correct because they're production is going to probably increase here in the coming months as we get into the cooler season here a little bit. They're going to be able to run longer. And then obviously like the power credits have a big impact on things as well as far as profit margins. So profit margins could be better than the 50% and 75% margins that I'm using right now, okay? So that's it for that one. Let me know what you guys think. You guys are investing in them. If you're thinking about investing in them, what are your thoughts about their growth, things like that? I'll obviously catch up with you guys in the comments down below. All right, so that's it for the miners. Obviously, pretty good growth from Marathon. Riot's doing the right things. Iris Energy is also doing all the right things. So these are definitely good miners here to look out for going forward. And just keep an eye on them going forward, okay? So next, let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. So today, actually, Bitcoin was down quite a bit here. Not quite a bit. It was down 1.35%, but still down. And it did battle with the 200 weekly moving average, which is the red line here, which is kind of good. The more times we battle with it, the more times, the more likelihood that we are to go above it. So it's good to see that happening there. We did get rejected from the 28,600 mark, which was the blue one here. This was back on Monday, early this week. And ever since then, things have been going kind of sideways a little bit. We're trying here, but it doesn't look like things are going to happen here just quite that fast. If we look at the 4-hour chart here, we can see that the price is, let me see it. If we look at the peaks here, at least try to find the peaks. Price right now from where it was back here, price is actually higher from the previous peak here of, well, not peak, but 51 on the RSI. We're actually up, so that's good looking there. On the 1-hour chart as well, if we look at that one, we can see peak here at 47.5. Last time we were back here was actually right around here. Price is actually higher at that point roughly as well. So that's good there. So at least in this short time frame, we're looking kind of slightly bullish here a little bit. But we'll have to see on the daily chart and the weekly chart how things stack up going forward. And this thing, there we go. Okay. And the daily, it's a little bit more difficult, but we do have daily RSI at 58. Last time we were back here at 58 as well. Price was actually lower at that point. So it's still looking pretty good here on the three things that I look at: daily, 4-hour, 1-hour chart. And then if we look at the weekly's going to be a little bit harder to tell right now on that one. RSI is actually down here. If we go far enough back here, RSI was, price was actually lower than where we are right now. So that's also good there. Now, as far as the miners, you can see the miners had well, it was an okay day, I guess you could say. They're down, but they're not down too bad. They're, down for like 5% or something like that for the most part here. 5-6%. I'm not seeing anybody down over double digits here. Wolf was down 7% here. So something to be mindful of. Let's take a look at the network hash rate as well on that one. See what's going on there with it, because that is also telling to see how well the miners will do going forward. So on the 7-day chart, we can see that the network hash rate right now is 415. On the 1 day, it actually came back down here to 373 million terahashes, or at 373 exahashes as it is. We did peak over 506 exahashes here in, when was this? This was middle of September roughly, but we have it coming down here a little bit. Okay, so we'll have to keep an eye on it, see what happens with Bitcoin miners going forward. We might see Bitcoin price going up, miners still continuing to go down or go flat. If that happens, I don't know when we might get a confirmation of that actually happening, where it happened like last cycle, but we'll keep an eye on it. Okay, so tomorrow we got some more miner updates. We'll see who else updates tomorrow as well, and then see if we get any other news from anybody else. Okay, so that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And also the spreadsheets are available to my Patreon members. The link is down in the description down below. You guys can join that. I think it's now, I think all the $4 spots are filled up. So I think the only one that's left is the $5 spots for right now. Okay, but you get a bunch of data in there. It's $5 less than a premium cup of coffee. All right. All right, tomorrow's Friday. We'll see you tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great night. See you then.